All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today. We are super excited that you guys are all here. We are recording this for people that are watching the replay. We hope that you enjoy this information. We're super excited about this because a couple of you guys have been on these calls, but we do have some new information that we're going to share in a different format along the same lines of what we've been sharing. But before we get started, we do want to make sure that we share with you the individuals that are speaking into your life. So I'm going to share a little bit about my financial story. Sheila's going to share a little bit about hers. And then we're going to turn it over to Anthony and Dana to share their story and some really good information with you guys. So this class is designed for everyone to understand why you need to be financially literate, why you need to be developing multiple streams of income, and to let you know that there are people out there already doing it. So when it comes to my story, I pretty much am living what would be considered the American dream. So I am an automotive professional. I make 6 figures currently. And of course, it took me a while to get there, but there's a trade-off for that. So some of the other things that I've experienced recently, a 6-week furlough, which was not my choice. I've had to work 60 to 80-hour work weeks. And really part of my job is what sent me on my health and wellness journey, because I received a lot of sickness based on the stress. I had high blood pressure, I wasn't eating right, and that was some of the things that sent me on my health and wellness journey. And so I originally got involved in a home-based business in the industry of health and wellness just to support my health and wellness. And I found tons of relief for hormone issues. I no longer have allergies. I no longer have skin issues. When I got educated on the importance of toxic-free living and replacing and nutrifying my body and using things like essential oils and vitamins and supplements. But the results that I had was so amazing and so awesome that I felt like I had to share it with other people. I started sharing immediately, and I saw those same amazing results in a lot of my family members. And with that, I was able to right away start getting my oils paid for. And that's really is the goal that we have for everyone on our team. We know that when they switch over and start buying things from their online store, they're going to receive great benefits. And so we have the goal for everyone on our team who chooses to get their oils paid for at a minimum. But beyond that, I have been able to expand my income to the point where I'm using it to invest in myself, invest in my business, pay off some debt, as well as I'm working on a very clear, very good plan to get rid of my day job by January of next year. And so that's part of my story and what I want to share with you guys. I'm going to turn it over to Sheila, and she's going to tell her version of her story, why she loves this health and wellness industry and what it's done for her financially.
Okay, sorry about that. It took me a moment to unmute. Thank you so much. And hopefully I have some pretty good internet connection. I live in the country. I live in Canada, and then I'm in the country. And internet is just it just kind of depends. It's hit or miss. But I've still been able to do a business, even though my internet connection is hit or miss. So that's the awesome thing about being able to do a business online and do it part-time or full-time. I got involved with Young Living 12 years ago when my sister introduced it to me, and she called me about these oils that were finally helping, something natural that was finally helping her daughter, who was having some various different health issues. And so I just thought I'd humor her, really. I was like, you know what? I don't know about these things that they say you can smell and it's supposed to help you. I was very skeptical, but I just said, why not, basically, right? Something in me just had me do it. And I got those oils and I received tremendous results. One of the things at the time is I have 6 kids. I had baby number 6 a couple years prior, and I just was not a happy mom anymore after that baby was born. And I know now that I had some hormonal imbalances, but at the time, which is normal, women get that. But at the time, I didn't know what was wrong with me because my normal, happy, peppy, energetic mom self had disappeared after I had that baby. However, I shouldn't call him that baby, my son Levi. But it took only a couple of weeks for all that to disappear. I was happy again as a mom. I literally kind of was going through that for about 2 years. He was 2 or 2.5 when I found the oils. And I turned back into the person that I recognized, to the mom that enjoyed. I love having lots of kids. 6 isn't even a lot in some of the circles that I go in, but I love having lots of kids, but I didn't love it at that time. And I was miserable, but the oils changed that. And when that happened for me, I decided I wanted to look into these oils further. And as I learned more and more about the oils and the power of the life's blood of the plant, I started to share with people naturally, because I wanted other people to be able to have these same results. And so that's how my journey began, sharing. I began giving lots of oils away, which I don't recommend necessarily. Do small sample bottles, but I was giving whole bottles away. I was saying, hey, you need this oil. And anything that came up, I knew that there was an oil for that. So I was giving them away. And finally, my husband said, you have to stop giving all these oils away. And why don't you make this a business? It was his suggestion. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm doing it anyway. And so what's cool is I was doing it before making money, because that's how powerful these oils are. It's something that I would do even if I didn't get a paycheck along with it. But because I get a paycheck along with it, that's just an extra bonus. And so it has been an amazing thing for me. It's been income. I've built this residual income that has helped us when we fell on hard times, when my husband had to close his business. I have won 5, I'm trying to think if it was 5 incentive trips. And I actually only went on one of the ones I won. I just like competing for them and winning them, and then sometimes I don't go. And it has more to do with me living in Canada and my visa at the time. But what the heck, I won them anyway. The one I did go to was the Alaskan cruise. And surprisingly enough, it felt like being in Canada far, but the actual cruise and being with those amazing people that I met, and that's the other side thing, is the amazing people. I don't know if I froze a little bit there, but the amazing people that I met along the way, and they've become family. Many of them have become family for me. So it's just been amazing business. Started out part-time and then eventually went on to full-time as my 6 kids started to grow up, and I was able to have more time to devote to the business.
All right. That's excellent. Sheila, I love to hear that story, and even yours, Tashina, because it shows that people have different motivations for getting into the business side of something like Young Living. They come from different backgrounds, and yet here we all have this one thing in common. So I want to take a moment before we get into our presentation just to share a little bit about Dana and I's background, for how we grew up and why why we gravitated to something like this. And now for Dana and I, we both grew up in middle-class households, which not my entire life did I grow up in a middle-class household, but like for me, in my eyes, that was like you were making it. If you were making $50,000, $60,000 a year, like you were making it, and that was the goal. But unfortunately, just because that was the household I grew up in and how we saw certain things, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's how it played out. When we first moved out on our own and we got married, we found out very quickly we were not middle class. We were broke. We were poor. And ever since then, that was kind of a wake-up call. We had done network marketing before. We had done any kind of venture to try to make extra money, because we knew in our minds that we no longer wanted to be broke or poor. We wanted to at least be middle class. But even still, outside of that, we also wanted time freedom. Because what's money in your hands if you don't have the time to do things with it? So that put us on a long journey of financial education, especially for me, this is something I'm very passionate about. So I hope that I don't just vomit finance all over you guys, but I feel like it's something that's very important that people should get to know, because whether you're making $10,000 a year or you're making 2.8 billion, these principles still apply, and it really applies to something like Young Living, and we'll dive into why that is and how it can benefit each and every one of you that is in this room this afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen unless Dana has anything she wants to share before we get started.
I'm sorry, I do have one thing I wanted to share, because I just was going to say too, when I started, I was one of the many people in Young Living that was like, I am not doing any type of business, right? Like he mentioned, we've done that before. And the reality is I didn't have a bad taste for direct sales or multi-level marketing. I actually thought it was a beautiful thing. But the way I looked at it was like the MBA. Like, do people go to the MBA? Absolutely. But what are the odds, right? And so that's how I viewed the successful people in a business like that. So for me, when I started, my focus really was, we don't have very much money, but I know these products are good for my son and they're good for my household. And so for me, my first initiative really was getting, like Tashina said, my products paid for. And so for the past 5 years, if you think about it, what if you no longer paid for your shampoo? What if you no longer paid for your deodorant? Would that make a difference in your life? Because that's what we were able to do. I haven't paid for any of those things. Young Living pays for that now. So what would your life look like even if it was just an extra $200 a month or $300 a month? Could it pay for like a car note, or could it pay for car insurance? So while I do believe that it's admirable to go all the way to the top, we all should want that, right? But maybe for some of us, it's just a matter of, I just need a little bit of extra. And so keep that in mind also as we kind of go through the slides in the presentation.
All right. That's an excellent point. So I'm going to go ahead and share. And as we dive into this, hopefully this benefits you guys and you enjoy it. As we go through like any class or presentation, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. And then at the end, we'll try to go back and answer them as best as possible. But I really like, so Dana actually crafted this one. I really enjoy this presentation because it says that we are average people creating an extraordinary life. The information that we're going to give you guys today, you do not have to be a finance guru or anything like that. These are basic principles that will help you in your life. And so that's why we want to give you those things. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So if we look at this first slide here, there are two problems that affect every single person in the world, where they live in a country where money is king, unfortunately. There are two things that will always affect individuals. The first one is inflation, and the second one is taxes, okay? So you can see the formula here, but I'm going to give you the simple version of what inflation is. And all it is the price of goods and services going up over time. So think about, I use this example all the time. When I first started driving, let's see, that was almost 20-something years ago. Gas prices were about 89 to 99 cents a gallon. I know some people probably remember when it was cheaper than that. I remember gas getting up to $4 a gallon, and I think right now it's sitting roughly around $2. But that is inflation at its core. Watching things like gas prices go up, watching things like the cost of groceries. Think about what people used to pay for a carton of milk or even to get bread and what we pay now. unfortunately, we're all going to be affected by inflation. And so this is a problem that we face. And if your income does not exceed the rate of inflation, so let's say that you work a 9-to-5 job, and even if you receive raises, which most people get a raise, it's usually like 1 to 2%. The average inflation rate here in America is 4% annually. So not only does that eat your raise, but it puts you 2% in the hole. So 5, 10, 15 years from now, how will you combat inflation? It's really something to think about when you think about it. And unfortunately, businesses roll the cost of inflation over to us as consumers. So that's the number one problem we face. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to move my, there we go, that's better. So to give you an example, so let's say you make, okay, let's say you make 10 hours or $10 an hour in 2010. I'm sorry, do I need to pause?
I'm sorry, did Jocelyn get back in? I didn't mean to interrupt it, but she texted me that she.
Let's see. Pardon me, I'm going to stop sharing just for a second. Ah, there we go. Okay. We got 2 more people that were coming back in. All righty.
Sorry, guys.
All right. So back to our example. So for example, if you make $10 an hour in 2010 and you get a raise to $20 an hour by 2020, you are still making $10 an hour because of inflation and taxes. But there are benefits that come with owning your own business. Business owners, they pass the cost of price increases over to consumers. You have the ability to outrun inflation. And remember, everything increases. That's your gas, food, daycare. But as a business owner, part of those expenses can become a potential tax write-off. So by being involved with something like Young Living, where you're in business for yourself, legitimately in business for yourself, and always check with a financial consultant or a CPA or something like that, or an accountant. Part of your expenses could actually become tax deductible, giving your family a raise. But let's talk about the second issue, taxation. So there's a famous phrase that goes, Uncle Sam's always got to get his cut, right? And the way that the tax system is set up here for most employees is that when you get paid with your job, a certain percentage is taken from your check before you even receive the rest of your money. So depending on how much you make annually, and to kind of show you how funny the system is. So for myself, I use as an example, I get paid weekly for my job. Depending on what my check is for that week, they multiply it by 52, and then they say, hey, we estimate that you will make X amount of dollars this year. So we're going to tax this paycheck at whatever that percentage would be for your annual taxes. So that could be 22%, it could be 32%, it could be 50% before you even get your money. But that's how the tax system works, right? And because off the top, before you even get your money, those taxes are being taken, unfortunately, many people are led to borrow for things like a car, going to school and getting an education, or just purchasing and paying for your home. Now you get hit with a double whammy, because if you have to borrow to pay for such things, now you have to pay interest. And even though interest rates are low right now, on things such as a car or a home, you could be paying anywhere from 4 to 5%, sometimes even higher on a vehicle. And then on school loans, you could be paying around the same. Credit cards, you could be paying 16, 17. I've seen 30% on some credit cards as well. So you're actually getting hit and taxed twice and putting yourself into debt. Why not make a simple choice? What will that simple choice allow you to do? Well, it will allow you to simplify your life and to give your family a raise. This year, you could give your family a raise by changing a few things when it comes to finances. So think about that for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Dana because she's going to talk about some of the inspirational aspect of it and why this is so important.
So we know I'm more the heart person. So do you believe you are worthy of success? The reality is when we get to this point, the difference between those who are successful and those who are not, a lot of times have to do with how we view ourselves. So if you believe that you can be successful, you absolutely can. We attract whatever we focus on. So if we focus on the fact that this is too hard, I don't know enough people, this is scary, right? Then that's what we're gonna get, right? But if we focus on, I am worthy of this success, I am worth fighting for this, then we are going to be successful. That is the law of attraction and how it always works. So our mission is to empower you with confidence, hope, and the tools necessary to reach your dreams and financial goals. This is for everyone. You are worth it and are more powerful than you believe. Dream big. So I want you guys to really, really think about these questions because children have the ability to dream big. I remember being a little girl, and if anybody ever asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was going to be an artist. I knew I was going to be an artist, right? It's not until you get older, right? And then other people start in your ear that you start shifting what you believe is possible, right? So my question to you is, when did you stop believing? When did you stop believing? Those big dreams that were on your heart. And then I want you to think about this question. If money and time were not an obstacle, what would your life look like? Are you living and leading that life right now? I really, really want you guys to think about both of those things because it really reflects on the fact that our mental has such a huge part in all of this. Next. So there's two ways the average person can succeed financially and get their dream life. So the first one is be your own boss, and the second is leverage. I definitely think that a lot of times that second one gets lost because there's a lot of people out there being a boss or being their own boss, but they're not leveraging all of the things that they possibly could in order to even fund maybe some of their dreams and some of the big things that they want to do. Is this them? So first I want to talk about the real estate agent versus the broker. So maybe some of you are in real estate, maybe you know someone in real estate. I think that this is a very, very good example of the difference in how we can shift our mindset. So when you look at the real estate agent versus the broker, right now, the real estate market is hot. Like, I feel like every other friend of mine is like, I'm going to get my real estate license, right? So which one would you rather be? Would you rather be the real estate agent or would you rather be the broker? So the real estate agent, they meet with clients, they show homes, they handle the paperwork, they do the open house, they take commissions, often up to 50%. That sounds pretty good, right? The broker runs the real estate agency. They get the building, the broker license, the overhead. They can hire several agents and receive commissions on the agent's work without being present. If you notice, that's leverage, right? So the real estate agent goes out and the only person that benefits is the real estate agent. But with the broker, because they can have several agents working at the same time, right? They're multiplying their efforts and getting commissions, and they're leveraging that same talent and that same ability as the real estate agent. So now, do you want to be the real estate agent or do you want to be the broker?
So I think that's a very very interesting and good point that Dana makes when it comes to something like that. So with that in mind, look at this slide here, because it asks the question, which business allows the best leverage? So here you see pictured, you have the retail industry. Well, the owner of, say, something like Reebok, what do? They open up many stores, they get managers to run those stores and employees so that their efforts can be duplicated. That is a franchise model. The franchise owner gives out multiple franchises so that as a company, they can leverage themselves and make and be more profitable and more successful. So which business model allows the best leverage? Well, that would be multi-level marketing. Now, I am a huge proponent and a huge fan of multi-level marketing. And I know throughout the years, for numerous reasons, to a certain extent, it has gotten kind of a bad rep. But think about what the multi-level marketing model offers. It's the only profession that offers time, leverage, freedom, and money. All of those things. You can be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. What are some of the advantages of multi-level marketing? There's a low startup cost. So think about those of you who joined Young Living and have been with us for a while. What did it cost you to get started with Young Living? Less than $200, right? But sometimes because the amount is so little, we don't legitimize it in our heads. We say in order to start a real business, you have to invest thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's simply not true. In multi-level marketing, you have low overhead. So how much does it cost you to run your Young Living business each month? Do you have to stock inventory? Do you have to maintain the website, ship orders out to customers, be customer service? Don't have to do any of those things. In fact, the only thing that's required for you to run your business is to place your qualifying order so that you can get products that you and your family are going to use anyway. Low overhead. There's also tax advantages. So remember at the outset, I mentioned how having the tax advantages can actually help to fight those two problems, inflation and taxation. Well, in pursuit of pursuing your business, some of the things that you ordinarily use or may order and use anyway can become potential tax write-offs because you are pursuing a business and they help you make money in your business, therefore offsetting some of those problems. There's extraordinary income potential to fight inflation. You know, they say your career with Young Living really starts at silver. And for those that don't know, with that income level, the average silver makes anywhere from $1,700 to $2,000 a month. And that's residual. That comes in every single month from the time that they continue to work their business. Can you see how something like that can fight inflation? What would you do with an extra $2,000 in your pocket each month for something that you started at a low startup cost, low overhead, and started part-time? What would you do? Could you pay off your house a little quicker? Could you pay off a car note or credit card debt? Could you do a remodel around the house? Or if you like to shop, could you go shopping? It's really something to think about, because that's the beauty of something like multi-level marketing is you started part-time. So you don't have to quit your job today. And the money that you can earn from something like Young Living comes in addition to what your household income is already. We provide education and training. And so when you look at all of the perks of multi-level marketing, it really is one of the best business models out there. You're not left in the dark. The only thing that dictates whether a person will be successful or not is themselves. Really something to think about. So just for comparison's sake, I want to look at this slide here because it compares sales to networking and why networking is so much more powerful than sales. So if you've ever worked in the sales industry, I have. It was one of the first jobs I had when I was younger. I am not to be cocky, I am very good at sales, but I hate it, okay? In sales, you are only paid one time off of your efforts. So it doesn't matter if the individual becomes a repeat customer. In the sales industry, unfortunately, you're only paid for that initial sale. So I use the example of someone that goes in the Nike store to buy like the latest Jordans. They might work off of a commission, and they get a commission when that person buys that pair of sneakers. But let's say the same person comes back and you're not working that day, somebody else sells it to them. Do you get that commission? Nope. Sales offers linear growth, and you must increase the volume to increase sales. So you have to sell to more people to make more money. And only one person will benefit. It is a lot of work. The networking model works so much better because you get paid for what you do naturally. You get paid for referrals. And that's what something like Young Living offers. I use this example. So Glenda's husband was asking me about my car. And for those who've been following me on social media, they saw that I purchased a Tesla Model 3. It has been my dream car probably for the past 10 years. And one thing that I appreciate about Tesla and how they market is you won't see any Tesla commercials or advertising. They are more recently evaluated at $1.8 billion. And you know how they got there? By networking. Tesla gives you a referral code every time you purchase a car that you can give to somebody else so that when they purchase a car, you get an incentive, and so do they. And they built an entire industry off of that networking model. That's what we have with something like Young Living. There's exponential growth and leverage. So it's not just you putting in all the work. It is you and your team of people putting in the work and leveraging yourselves and growing, just like the broker. And so in that process, you not only benefit yourself, but you benefit all of the people that decide to come along with you. And as it was mentioned, you're going to recommend these things anyway. If you're a product of the product with something like Young Living, and you're using the products that Young Living has to offer, there's over 600. And we've replaced as many as possible in our house. So when someone asks us, hey, where'd you get that soap from? Oh, it's from Young Living. Where'd that makeup come from? Young Living. Where'd that cleaner come from? Young Living. You're going to recommend it naturally if you're using it. And that growth is not going to be solely dependent on you. So it's an excellent model when you really look at it. So just to wrap that up, everyone is at the top. You get to decide your income raises and bonuses based off of your production. And income and success is not dependent on where you are in the network or when you get started. I love that. Now, it's a common belief that when someone goes into business, that you have to be at the start of the curve to make the money. In network marketing, that's simply not true. Because the reality is, someone correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I believe there's a small percentage, maybe I want to say 2-3% market penetration, Tashina would know, of people that know about Young Living. So there's exponential room for growth. If you decide to come along today, or if you just started, or if you start next month, there's still that possibility of you still being able to be successful in this industry. And it's a highly promoted business model. So I'm going to do my best to point out the ones that I recognize, and maybe Dana can fill in the blank. But you have Brendan Bouchard here on the left, Gary Vaynerchuk here on the right, Robert T. Kiyosaki, and Warren Buffett. Did I get those correct?
You got those correct.
Okay. Who is this? I don't recognize.
Rachel Hollis.
Rachel Hollis. Okay.
You
Sorry.
didn't know the woman?
Sorry. But these have been promoted business models by those that have been seen from a financial standpoint as being successful for years. So it is a legitimate promoted business model that you just have to decide whether you'll be a part of or not. All right, so I'm going to turn it back over to Dana because she's going to talk more specifically about the companies.
So we talked, this is a great business model. Now, what to look for in a company. So some things that are super, super important are consumable products that work. What does that mean? So consumable products means if I eat it, I have to keep eating it, right? And so then I need to replace it. Sometimes we have business models where it's not consumable, and so people hold on to it, and then they don't have a need to continue to purchase it. So you want to make sure that your business has consumable products that they're going to need to replace on a regular basis. Longevity and strong, stable company. This is important too, right? Because there's plenty of multi-level marketing companies that come and go and come and go. And I know you've seen them on your social media platforms. You got friends that one day they're talking about this, that, Rob, join my team and this and the other. And then you don't ever hear about it or see it again, right? So you want to make sure that that company is established. Young Living has been around for over 25 years, and the research behind Young Living goes back about 35. You want residual income opportunity. Business can be sold for profit. Low monthly recurring overhead. I think this is another thing that a lot of people get stuck on. Anthony mentioned a little bit, but do you realize even at a Royal Crown Diamond level, the only monthly overhead you have is 100 PV? That's it. That's all you have to do each month. That's nothing. And compared to, so I had my own spa for the longest time, and my rent was like 4 times that, right? That's just the rent. Just for me to be like, ooh, I can be in this building, right? Not to mention all my products and supplies and all of those things. With the Young Living, just 100. That's it. That's all we require you to do. No employees to manage in training and education. I don't have any employees on my team. They all have their own business. They work for themselves, right? Next. Why the healthcare industry? So healthcare industry annual revenue is 2.5 trillion. Trillion, that's with a T. Money spent on alternative healthcare is 34 billion out of pocket. Are you drinking my drink? Mm-hmm. 38% of all Americans have expanded their health spending beyond Western medicine and doctors. The top 4 leading causes of death in the U.S. are linked to lifestyle factors and stress. More and more people are aware of this, and more people are willing to make the adjustments and the changes in order to have better health. Next. So now, what you need. I think this is important, and I think sometimes we forget some of these parts. It's a business, so you have to do work. It's not going to just come to you. People aren't just going to give you people in your team. You need to say, I'm going to do this business, and this is what it looks like. You want to make sure that you are willing and able to dedicate 5 to 7 hours a week part-time. Okay, that's 5 to 7 a week. That's it. Realize that when you make that dedication, this is a 2 to 7 year investment, but there's unlimited earning potential. Okay, so if you look at the income disclosure statement, you can see on average how long it takes certain people to get at certain ranks. Okay. There's a reason that it's called the 4-year career, right? Because it's a career, right? We're willing to go to school for 4 years, right? We go in debt, we go to school for 4 years, and then we get a job, right? So understand that this industry is the same. It is a 2 to 7 year investment. Prioritize personal development and growth. It is so, so important because what you're doing in this business model is not what the average person around you is doing. So if you do not prioritize your own personal development, it's easy to hear the ears of people that aren't in the arena, right? So how are you going to combat that? How are you going to be stronger when obstacles come up? You need to be committed to training. Like any other profession, you must learn the industry and skills needed to be successful. You didn't learn these in school, I promise you, right? Because the model of our school systems is to model us to go into the plant mentality, right? And be an employee. So you didn't learn these skills, so you have to learn these skills. You're gonna need to do a mindset shift, and this is so key too. You have to care about other people. If you do not do what's best for the people around you first, you will never be successful in this business. Next. So taking action. So if this is your first time with us, what do you need to do in order to start this business? Again, the startup cost is as low as $125 all the way up to $265. You want to make sure that you sign up for Essential Rewards. This is your only overhead, okay? So again, when we talked about that investment as a business, you want to make sure that you're covering that cost as well. Next. Education and training.
That's the last one.
It's so important that you, again, get into education. If you guys are on my team or if you guys are on our team or Tashina's team, then we have Vital 180. So Vital 180 has a full training system. The getting started training will take you step by step all the way to get up to silver, okay? Right now, I believe Monday nights, we're gonna be doing a call specific to that as well. So there's that little Zoom link. Get on Zoom, get some education, get some training. We have a lot of information on our YouTube. It's kind of cute because I'm here at 79 subscribers. We've done a little bit better since I made this presentation, but there's so much education on there, like on different subject matters and things that you can offer and get there as well. And I call this coconut money, okay? So remember, your Young Living is coconut money. You can become a star and get paid $200 this month, okay? Your premium starter kit will be free. So produce an organizational volume of 500. All that means is you help 4 people, okay? 4 people get started with a premium starter kit, get them on Essential Rewards too, and hey, you also get that level up, double up, right? With all those free oils. You help your leaders do the same thing, okay? Again, you're gonna be more successful if you help other people do the same thing. So you get to star, but you help them get to star too, so that they can get their stuff paid for, so that they can be able to afford health and wellness in their homes as well. Okay.
So that's it for the presentation. Hopefully you guys saw the vision and found that to be beneficial in some way, shape, or form. Like I mentioned, this is something that we're both very, very passionate about, especially as I look out and I see many different faces. One of our missions when we started our company was to help educate people on health and wellness. And that includes not only just our physical health, but that's our mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, all of those things. So get back with the person that invited you today if this is your first time, and ask them how you can get started on your journey. So I'm going to end with that. I don't know, Tashina, if you want to continue to record or not, but we can take Q&A or try to go back and answer questions if need be. Or
Yeah, someone's raised their hand. Israel has a question.
Okay. Go ahead, Israel.
No, sorry, it was a mistake. I'm sorry. I was doing something else.
Okay.
Oh, you're that person? He was trying to turn his camera on. He hit the raise hand. He's that person, huh? No. Glenda, you had a question?
Yes, I'm working with one of my friends right now. She is having some issues. The thing is that she had a Young Living account, so she would have to like get reactivated. And I don't want to do anything crazy because we're principled people. So she wants to reactivate, but because I'm helping her, she would want to come with me. So is that possible? Or would that be shady?
I can answer that question. So they actually talked about this, I believe, during convention. So we talked about that there's only 2 to 3% market penetration, right? There is enough people for everyone to grow our business. So there has been plenty of times where both Dana and I have gone to people and said, here are your options. At the end of the day, it's her choice. So we know that our team is committed to helping everyone getting their oils paid for, and we have a strong system of education. But if there is a relationship, a previous relationship that makes sense for them to go to the other person, they have the right to go to the other person, and the decision is theirs. If they decide to reactivate with someone else because they decided they didn't get the proper amount of support, they have a right to do that. That is not against Young Living policies. People have done it before in the past. And if they decide to go with the other person, they can get on my YouTube channel, they can get on Dana's YouTube channel, they can get on my Facebook group, and they can join any of our classes, no matter what team they are on. They just can't have access to our training systems, and they can't have one-on-one coaching from us. So the decision is theirs. It can go either way.
I'm sorry, we keep cutting each other off.
Yep, you can continue.
The thing is that I feel like this person is already underneath your team, Sheena. She's just not getting the support from whoever it is that originally sponsored her, and she's eventually like fell off. And now she's telling me some of her health problems, and I'm going back and forth with her. And I just don't want to do anything unethical. That's just it.
Yeah, we've had that situation before too. Okay, so again, if she wants to reactivate under someone different, just have an open, honest communication about the reason why, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? So Laura, I saw that you had put a question in the chat. For those that didn't see it, Laura's question was, when Dana said 100 PV, what that is it's point value. Usually it's roughly equivalent to about $100 USD. So sometimes it could be more, sometimes it could be less, just depending on what products you order, because those products have different PVs and they don't always match up with the dollar amount. Does that make sense, Laura?
Yes. So
Okay.
you mean I order $100 worth of product, or I get other people under me to order $100 worth of product?
So that's $100 worth of product that you order yourself.
Okay.
So we talk a lot about transfer buying. And when you start to move over your things like your deodorant and your soaps, your shampoos, you're using supplements and oils and drinking Ningxia Red, it's very easy to chew through $100 a month.
Yeah.
We are a family of 4, and we struggle to keep to our budget of $300 to $400 a month on those products. I'm particularly bad in that area, so I do take.
It's him.
Yeah, I do take responsibility for that.
He had to get his own account because he was ridiculous.
Yeah. But the minimal requirement is just 100 PV for your overhead.
So that would be an ongoing order monthly. I would sign up for that. I forgot what you called that.
Essential rewards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Between Tashina or Sheila, does anyone have anything else that they want to share before we close anything? I saw Sheila turned her stuff on. Go ahead, Sheila.
Well, I was taking notes on some of the things that you were saying, and I wanted to bring up just a couple things. First of all, I didn't know that about Tesla. That's so awesome that that's how they have done. That is amazing. That is awesome. What I wanted to do was just kind of mention, I know people may have heard this term about 7 streams of income. So I think one of the things that we're trying to stress here is that sometimes people think when you go in on the business, you have to go all in. You have to get rid of everything else you're doing, your job or whatever, and that's just simply not true. And so for me, when I went in, I had my 6 kids, but also I was homeschooling. So I went in very easy at my own pace. And one thing that I love about Young Living is there's no pressure. There's no pressure. It's up to you to do what you want to do. And again, we talked about whether that be your own product that you want to get for free as a first step so that you can get your products for free. That's sharing with a couple people a month and you're getting your products for free, and then move on from there. Or deciding to go part-time. And there's a couple things that part-time did for me. One of the things is it helped me stay at home with my kids. That was very important to me. I was a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling. I wanted to stay at home with my kids. So I just did a little bit what I could between homeschooling. But as years went on, my husband, who has a brick and mortar, had a brick and mortar business at the time, he actually ended up having to close his business. He was successful in it for years and years and years. And we just had one of those businesses that closed during that recession or whatever went on 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, whenever that happened. But by that point, my business had built up. So we had that second stream of income, another stream of income that helped sustain us for a bit until he got some other things coming in and some other things going on. So then now what's happening is we actually have a brick and mortar business as well. So we have Young Living, we have a brick and mortar business again. We finally bit the bullet and we got a horse boarding facility. That horse boarding facility, and it's something that Anthony brought up, is the time freedom, right? That time freedom is kind of gone for us now. We were enjoying that time freedom with just Young Living. And when you have something where there's live animals, that's 7 days a week, and it's a brand new business for us. So we haven't gotten to where we could like hire a lot of help to do the things that we're doing. So 7 days a week, we gave up a little bit of that freedom. I'm not sure if we're deciding that's where we want to stay, because we got used to that time freedom to be able to work our business from anywhere, any place, especially with homeschooling. Travel anytime. We didn't even have to wait on a school schedule. Travel anytime we wanted to and just hit the road. I have a son that used to box when the early days of Young Living, and he boxed around the country, boxed around US and Canada, and we just would just hit the road and go and support him in that, and we were able to do that because of Young Living. Now, if he was still boxing, we'd have to say, well, no, we have barn duties that we have to do. So while we love and we're really blessed by that, we know that we had to give up a little bit of something in order to have a brick and mortar. But still, but we're working towards that full time freedom again, but also having these different streams of income. So we got different streams of income. There's so much to weigh, but you could just start out part-time, doing what works best for you. That's kind of my point of all this, is doing what works best for you. And now what's happening is, with my Young Living income, we're able to build up our savings. So my Young Living income now goes to savings, and we just put that check into savings, and then we'll look at something else to invest. That's how we able to go ahead and invest in the barn. So I mean, it's flexible is what I'm trying to say. It's flexible. It's how you want to work your business. It's how much time you want to put in. It's whatever your goals are, and it helps you reach your goals, whatever they may be. So I just wanted to bring that up to just talk about the flexibility of it and how it really is something, multi-level marketing in general, but Young Living in particular, it is really is something where you are supported in whatever way you choose to do this business, in whatever way you are supported by your team. Okay.
I did actually want to add two things. The first one is the tax advantages. And we did do a training on that, our team, that's available on my YouTube channel. And that is an amazing portion of it, because I have been able to travel all over the world with some tax deductions thanks to Young Living. I would have never gone to Croatia unless I was going there to go to the farm and experience one of the most beautiful trips I've been on. I would have not gone on the Young Living cruise, but there was training on the cruise and gotten some of those tax advantages. So those are amazing. If anyone needs some guidance on that, again, we did a training in the last 6 months. You can DM me and I can get you that guidance. When I talk about my journey and the extended version and the previous classes that we've done, you know, I talk about how I went from 40,000 to 6-figure income, and I did that in a short amount of time. I did that in about 5 years. Now, if I would not have had a business, I had the business from when I was going to 75,000 to the 6-figure, I probably would not have saw most of that, because once you get over 80,000 a year, they take more taxes. But the fact that I had a business, I was able to see more of that income increase. So if you haven't investigated that and you don't understand the tax advantages, definitely DM me so that I can give you that training that we did with a tax professional. He's been in the industry for over 20 years. And then just to reiterate the multiple streams of income, we have a lot of talented people on our team, and our goal and dream is to drive more business to you. If you're a tax professional that can do taxes, we want to give you those people. If you are a person that has some type of product, we want to make sure that our team knows about that. That is one of our other passions. We have personal trainers on our team. We have makeup artists. We have individuals that craft different things. And so we're all about supporting the multiple streams of income. And it just naturally happens when you become an entrepreneur. Like, I personally have already created all these ebooks. I have about 3 books in my head that I'm going to produce once I hit platinum and I have time to work on that. I've gotten my life coaching certification, and I'm focusing on success, self-improvement, and empowerment. And I'm already talking with Eric Walton about being one of his certified trainers. And he and I are going to corporate to see if we can. So it just like naturally happens that as you have this entrepreneur mindset, you come up through our training with multiple streams of income. So that is the focus. Even though we start with the network marketing, that's not the end game. The end game is this 7 streams of income so that you have financial freedom to fulfill your dreams, to do more in the spiritual world, in order to spend more time with your family, to have that flexibility. That is what our goal is. So that's all I wanted to add. If there's anything else. All right, if there's nothing else, I think we can close this out. We thank you guys so much for joining us. The recording will be available in about an hour in the event. And again, definitely DM me if you need any additional information. You guys have an amazing evening. Bye, guys.